Welcome everybody to this week's episode of the CD Sport Podcast with me, Kerry Davis. Joining us today is 2 times Wales strongest man, former world record deadlift holder in the 105 kilogram category, owner of Chaos Strength Gym, Luke Davies. How are we, Luke?
I'm good, mate. Thanks for having me.
That's all right, mate. We were just having a quick chat before air now, and I wrote on my notes, world record holder for the 105 kilo category deadlift, and you were like, it just got beaten bloody 2 weeks ago. I was like, what? That's it.
Yeah, there's a few boys who've been knocking around the sort of area, and he got beaten by a South African guy a couple of weeks ago. But I've done more than he did in the comp in training, so I'm confident as soon as I got a comp to do it, and I can beat it again. So
you can beat him.
That could be it.
That'll
be like a sorry.
No, that's all right. We just get no time in. But no, I was going to say your lift was 420 kilos.
So the one I did, the 420 kilos I did was in the heavyweight class. So that's the Welsh Opens record for the heavyweights. My under 105 record was 410 kilos.
All right. So
that's what I said. I've done more than the current record, but I didn't weigh in for that competition, so it didn't count as an under 105 record, if that makes sense. You have to have an official weigh-in for it to be a weight class record. So I've pulled more, but I haven't done it as an official 105 yet. So that's why I'm confident I can break it again. I
got you. But it's got to be in competition, is it?
Yeah, exactly. So the current record by the South African who just beat mine is only 412. And like I said, I've already done 420, so confidence of a comp. Obviously, because of COVID last year, I didn't have a chance to bump the numbers up, but I've done it in the gym and stuff. So sure, as soon as competitions start happening again, I can get it done.
Awesome, yeah. That's a bit of the issue with Eddie Hall and Thor, is it? Is it something to do with the deadlift thing?
Yeah, so Eddie Hall had the record of 500 kilos, which he set in a Giants Live, arena show. Thor then broke it with 501. So Eddie likes to claim it wasn't a competition because it was in his gym, etc. But as far as I'm concerned, they had a referee there. Everything was weighed. It was live streamed, so there was pressure on. It was all live. It's not as if he just did it in his own time. It was still on TV. As far as I'm concerned, it's a valid lift because everything was done exactly like it would be in competition. So I think Eddie just wants to cling on to the record a little bit, so that's why he's claiming it's not. But as far as I'm concerned, Thor's record is legit.
Yeah, right. I didn't know all that. I just thought it was he did it in the training room and people recorded him. I didn't know we had all live.
It was done with a full. It was live. It was live on ESPN in America. They had referees there. They had full setup, waiting all the place, making sure it was all legit. So it was, and the only reason they did that was because of COVID. If it wasn't for COVID, it would have happened in front of an audience. So it was like needs must sort of thing to do in the pandemic.
Yeah, right. That's interesting. So back to you, Luke. Stuff Eddie Hall and Thor, innit? How long have you been in the old strongman game for?
I've been doing strongman for almost 10 years now. Did my first competition in 2012. So yeah, almost 10 years. Which is a long time in this sport.
I bet. Yeah.
Yep.
How old are you? If you don't mind.
I'm 32.
32. So you started at 22. Was what got you into it? Were you always like a strong guy in general, or is it just a slow progression?
Yeah. No, I was quite strong actually. I played rugby, obviously, being from South Wales. So we're not allowed to play anything else. I hurt my knee playing rugby, so I started going to the gym while I couldn't run and stuff. And I kind of realized I preferred lifting weights to running around the rugby pitch. I actually did a powerlifting competition when I was 18. So not long after I went to the gym, because I realized pretty fast on, pretty strong, like, squat, bench, and deadlift. So I talked into doing a powerlifting comp. I didn't actually compete then for a few years. I still went to the gym. And then I was just training one day and I saw a guy doing a log press in the corner of the gym. And I was like, oh, that looks fun.
Yeah.
So I had to play with it. He saw me doing it and he was like, oh, do you want to come to a competition? So I signed up to a competition then on like a week's notice, Strongman, and I went and did it. And that was like, the start of it.
So you just had that strength like from the get go then, really?
Yeah, I think I deadlifted 180 kilos, like maybe my third time deadlifting.
Bloody hell, that's insane.
When I was like 16, 17, so not like mind-blowing weights, but like fairly strong for an average gym go. I did fairly fast. Like I said, I was pretty strong from sports because I played sports all my life. Played football, played rugby, played everything I could get my hand to, really, and it's
You turn your hand to it, yeah. What were you, front rower in rugby or second rower? How tall are you?
I'm 5'9".
Oh,
surprisingly,
5'9", right. Yeah.
Surprisingly, I was a winger, mate.
Were you? Bloody hell.
So
on the wing.
When I first started playing, it's weird because I haven't grown in height since I was about 13. So when I first started playing, I was about 13, 14. They put me in second row because I was tall.
Funny.
You know what it's like when you're young. They just look at your body shape and they say, that's where you're playing.
Yeah.
But my first season, I scored a load of tries from second row, basically picking the ball up from the ruck. And they were like, oh, you're fast. So they moved me out. I played centre for a while. And then I eventually found myself on the wing. I eventually moved back row as I started putting some size on. So I went to flanker eventually, but wing was where I played most of the time.
That's insane.
Because I was quite fast. So.
So when you started getting into the training of strongman and stuff, was that it for rugby then? Was it no more games, just weights?
Yeah, I haven't played a game of rugby since I was 19.
Right,
I was like, I got fully addicted to the weights. I always intended on going back to rugby.
Yeah.
At least for like a season or two, and this just kind of never happened. No, especially when I started competing in strongman, because strongman's so hard on your body, and so is rugby. I know a few boys who tried to combine them both, but it never really ends well in my experience. With injuries.
Definitely not.
Both brutal sports. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like Gavin Bilton, he was like a former rugby player too, and he kind of jumped across to the strongman game as well himself.
He was still playing at a good level rugby up until I think maybe last year. I think he stopped playing.
Really?
All the year before. Yeah, it was fairly recently he stopped playing. But in my opinion, you can't do two sports at that level. It's counterproductive.
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, exactly. So, what's an average week like for you, Luke? What's like in the training and stuff?
At the moment, I'm training 4 times a week, sometimes 5. Maybe 2.5 hours a session. I also do a load of, because I'm like 10 years into my career, I got a few injuries now. I also got to do a load of like mobility work, stuff like that, rehab. So I would say, in terms of actually doing stuff in the gym to progress the sport, I'm probably doing maybe 15 hours a week ish, something like that.
15 hours a week.
So then I'll have like 2 upper body sessions, 2 lower body sessions, and then a session where I do the actual strongman events, your Atlas stones, your walking farmers walk and stuff like that.
Yeah, right. Are you busting your balls every single session, or is it you go light some days and?
Yeah, it's not always balls out, because if you do that every session, you just burn out too fast, and that's when you get injury. So yeah, it changes in terms of intensity depending on what I'm doing, especially now because I haven't got a comp coming up for a few months. So I'm taking it quite easy, to be honest, at the moment. Just ticking the boxes, slowly making small improvements, just waiting until it's time to ramp it up. When I get close to comp, then it's like, balls to the wall, killing yourself.
Yeah, game on. You can't peak too early. That's in all sports. That's in all sports as well, isn't it?
Exactly. You don't want to peak in the gym either.
Mm.
That's what people get wrong a lot of the times. You see them doing crazy gym lifts, and it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, if you don't do it in a competition, it's kind of useless.
So what, like, obviously, say you had a comp booked in now for, I don't know, let's say June, for example. Like, how many weeks out do you start ramping it up to peak in June, would you say?
If it's like a big competition, I'll start focusing on our comp for 12 weeks
12 weeks.
before, yeah, and then slowly start ramping it up. But I'll start like focusing specifically on the events for that competition because we get told the events in advance, so we know exactly what we'll have to do in that competition in terms of, because obviously there's a billion different strongman events, so every competition is different. But you know in advance nowadays, so you can prepare.
Mm.
It's a lot different than it was in like the 70s and 80s where you'd turn up and then they tell you on the day what you were doing. That's what it used to be like.
Yeah, there's so many as well. Like, I listen, I don't know a great deal about strongman, but I watch it on the TV, you know. And like you say, you got the bloody, obviously the Atlas bars. You got I'm not very good at the names, but obviously the keg throw, is it? Have you done that one?
Yeah.
When you throw it over.
I've done keg toss, yes. Yeah, I've done keg toss.
What's the one where the Hercules, is it? When you're holding?
Yeah.
Like it's so many. Obviously you got your deadlifts, you got pulling bloody planes or fire engines or whatever you do. It's yeah, like, so when you do have an event, how many like exercises do you have per event type thing?
Most competitions have between five and six events.
5 and 6, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the standard number.
And then you just obviously then you find out 12 weeks in advance, and that's all you do is them exercises in the gym then.
It's not all we do. Obviously, we still do our squats and our assistance exercises and stuff, but we obviously really focus on that in terms of technique, making sure we can do the events properly, you know, and just really focusing on getting good at those events.
Yeah, right. And just looking on your Instagram page, Luke, I think, what's your favorite exercise?
Now you can probably tell every post is the deadlift bit.
The deadlift. Man, it's fucking so impressive. Like, my record in my prime, I'm 6'1". When I was playing rugby, I was 110 kilos. My max deadlift was 230 kilos, and I thought I was the man, you know. But yeah, for you to be pulling, you know, you've pulled 420. It's fucking crazy, you know. And yeah, I don't know how you could put that much weight through your joints. Like, it's insane. How do you build up to something like that? Is it just repetition, keep doing it, keep adding weight, or is there a certain?
And what people don't realize is how long it takes. So, like I said, I did my first powerlifting comp when I was 18, so I've been deadlifting heavy for 14 years.
Mm.
It's not like build up. You go from 300 to 400 in like a year or so. I mean, it's be like add maybe 10, 15 kilos every year for the past decade. I mean, so it's just a slow process. You'll see some guys will burst onto the scene and they'll deadlift massive weights really fast, and you'll tend to notice they disappear very quickly as well. Because
how's that then?
So it's a couple of factors. One is your tendon strength for one takes longer to build than your muscular strength. So you have these new guys, they'll slam a lot of food in them, they'll gain loads of weight. Obviously with strongman, performance enhancing drugs are allowed. So, you know, people take loads of drugs. So they'll get really strong really fast, and then they'll get injured because their body hasn't built up over time to get used to those sort of loads. But like I said, I hit my first 300 kilo deadlift. Let me think. 2013. So it took me 7 years to go from 300 to 400. I mean, it wasn't like a 6-month period. It took me like 5 years to go. It took me like 5 years to go from 200 to 300, and then another 7 years to go from 300 to 400. So it's just consistency and just time, basically.
That's a long time, isn't it? 7 years.
Yeah, it's a boring answer, but it's not what people want to hear. But it's true. It's just staying relatively healthy. Obviously, injuries happen in sport. I've got my fair share as well, but being consistent. yeah, we'll talk about that in a second if you want. But just being consistent and just cracking on.
You say, so what injuries have you had? You've had some pretty bad ones, have you?
In terms of, I've torn my hamstring twice. I've torn both my pecs. In terms of muscle tears, I've been quite lucky. I know that's on like 4 tears, but that's not actually that bad because none of those required surgery. They were just, like 8 weeks rest and you're good to go. Biggest issue I've had has been with my knees, to be honest. I've had an MCL tear, an ACL tear, and I got meniscus damage as well. To be fair, some of that was from my rugby days. But most of it's just wear and tear from stuff like, have you seen the York event?
Yeah.
When we're doing that event, like the last couple of comps I've done, I've had like £1,000 on the York. So when you've got £1,000 on your back and you're trying to sprint with it, just doing that, over and over again for like 10 years, it takes its toll on your joints. So yeah, most of my injuries are just like wear and tear, just from doing it for so long. Yeah. So there's nothing we can't trade through, nothing like life-threatening or anything like that, just feeling old.
Part of the job, Luke, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, man. It's like I say to people, obviously pain is bad, so we don't want to be in like pain, but like general achiness and it's just part and parcel of the sport. I mean, you can't expect to be lifting crazy weights and there not to be any consequences. I mean, it's not a healthy sport.
So safe to say every morning you're like, you get up out of bed and you're like, oh, click the left, click the back, like that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Do you take CBD or anything like that to help?
I tried CBD. I didn't really find it helped at all, to be honest.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I tried it for about 2 months. I think I slept a little bit better, but that was about it.
That's it. No. Do you remember like the milligram you were taking or anything like that?
I took the strongest one that was available. That's what I remember. Yeah, but I didn't get any sort of pain relief from it personally.
Right. Yeah. So for stuff like that, then if you are feeling a bit burnt out or exhausted, literally all you can do is maybe step away from the gym for a couple of days, leave the body recover, and then go back. Is it?
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah. Rest is just as important as training.
That's it. Yeah.
You can't just keep killing yourself over and over because you won't make progress for one. You'll end up going backwards and you'll just hurt yourself at some point. So you need to know when to take a step back. And sometimes after I do a really heavy comp, I'll take a couple of weeks off and I won't touch a weight. Just to let my body just heal and recover.
Yeah. And talking of the training, is your diet on point as well, or do you kind of eat what you want?
Yeah, it depends, mate. Because in my off season, I'm quite lazy, and I'll eat shit quite a lot. Obviously, because I compete in a weight class, as I get closer to the competition, I have to tighten up because I have to make weight. And I often sit above my weight class, so I have to diet down to do the competition. So yeah, it depends on where I am in the year for me. Like 8 weeks before comp, it's pretty strict. But in the off season, I do love a pizza and a glass of wine. So yeah, it should be better, is what I'm going to say.
What do you walk around at weight wise, roughly?
Normally I'm about 115.
Yeah.
I'm a bit heavier at the moment because I planned on doing some heavyweight comps this year. So I put a bit of weight on, but they all seem to have been falling out of the wayside and getting cancelled. So I think I'm going to make my way back down now slowly.
And to do that, have you got any special formula? Do you count your calories? Do you chicken and broccoli?
I do have to remain quite strict on dieting because I'm one of those people who, if I have like one Jaffa cake, I have to have 10. So when I'm dieting, I do have to be quite strict with myself and eat boring foods. So, like I said, it's not all year round. So like that's how I deal with it. I'm like, in a few months I'll be able to eat whatever I want.
Yeah, I think that's the thing as well. When you've got a goal, you know it's like, right, I've just got to diet for 8 weeks, do my comp, and then you can say you can have 2 months off then. You can eat what you want.
Yeah.
You can drink wine. You can drink beer. But no, that's good. And obviously, and like the main thing is keeping your proteins high, lots of meats and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I don't count calories like super accurately. I have a protein goal for the day.
Yeah.
To make sure I hit the protein goal, and then I have like a rough idea where my carbs and fats are going to be.
Yeah.
But like, I just want to get around the right area. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then if I stop losing weight and I'm struggling, then I'll count strictly. But I'm normally pretty good at losing weight just by feel and gaining weight, to be honest, because I've been doing it for so long, and I can just kind of like guess. Sort of where the calories are. Do you know what I mean? Protein's the only thing I count specifically when I'm dieting.
Yeah, I think that's the most important one as well, to be honest, isn't it? The whole protein.
Yeah, especially when you're looking to lose weight but maintain your strength. You need to keep that up.
Obviously, you say you're 115 kilos now and you have to cut down. Do you feel like you're getting weak? Like 10 kilos is a fair bit of weight, isn't it? Do you feel like you're getting weaker? Does it play factor a bit?
Mentally, I'd say more than physically. Like, if you're smart about it, you lose weight slow, you can maintain your strength pretty well, but it is a bit of a head fuck. Do you know what I mean? When you see the scale number going down, it's like, you have to remind yourself that you're not losing any weight and you're not losing any strength, And I'd say that's the hardest part, the mental game of seeing the scale number go down and trying to tell yourself that you're still strong, blah, 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 and keeping yourself confident.
That's crazy. And like I said at the start, you're a 2-time Wales strongest man. Your first time, you won in the under 90 kilogram category. Is that right?
Yeah, in 2013, so quite a while ago now.
So you must have been bloody. Were you like 6-pack and everything then, or?
Rihanna likes to laugh when she sees photos of me at 90. Where are you?
Where are you?
Getting bored. I obviously had muscle because I deadlifted 340 at under 90, but I was mostly just back at that point. Didn't have any legs, didn't have any arms.
Still strong as an oxo. And then what I read something online. I don't know if this was your 105 kilogram. So obviously you won your second World's Strongest Man in the 105 kilogram category.
Yeah.
And then one event was it 220 kilo deadlift for as many reps as you can in 75 seconds?
That was in the 90s when I believe.
90s.
The 220, yeah.
And you knocked out 15 reps. Like,
horrible.
That's fucking horrible. That's great. Like I told you earlier, my record is, what did I say, 230 or 230, 220. I was, my head was going to blow off. But there you are, under 90 kilograms, knocking them out, 15 reps. It's just... There's
a photo on my Facebook somewhere of me lying on the floor after that event and just dying.
I like the photo of, I'm probably going to use it for the cover photo I use of you, but I think it's your 420 lift. Is it? And
with Rhea in the background, is it?
Yeah, and Rihanna hands up. I fucking love that. It looks really good. And the bar's full banana on you. I was like, Jesus Christ. That's a good photo. And,
I did that in September in Derry, in Ireland. It was during that brief period in between lockdowns where we were allowed to go places.
Right, yeah.
So we flew over there for a comp, and then 3 weeks later, everything was closed again. So
you just got the comp in. Did you win that one?
Actually, no. There was a Irish guy there who broke the Masters world record. The guy called James Hickey, and he deadlifted. I'm going to get this wrong now. I feel bad. I want to say it was 435 kilos as a master, which was over 40, and he was absolutely crazy to watch. Bonkers.
Over 40 years old, he was?
Yeah. Yeah, he pulled 435 kilos. Irish.
That's impressive. Well, do the math now. You're 32. Was it?
Got to survive 8 years.
Yeah. Be 500
Hope my
kilos
body-
deadlifter. And you've competed in 3 World's Strongest Mans too, have you? In the world?
Yes, with different organisations. Yeah. So I did the official Strongman Games and World's Strongest Man under 105, which is the company that's affiliated with Giants Live.
Yeah.
And the heavyweight strongman. That was in North Carolina in America in 2017. I had a disaster in that competition, to be honest. I think I finished 19th out of 30. I think it wasn't my best comp. That was the first time I'd traveled to America, so it was still pretty awesome.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Then I did the Ultimate Strongman World Championships, which is a different organization. I did that in Czech Republic in 2018, and then Ukraine in 2019, where I placed 7th, which is my best place in an international competition.
That's fucking awesome, yeah.
That was the competition I first broke the world record. So in that competition, I pulled 405 kilos. And then 2 minutes later, a guy from the Czech Republic pulled 406.
Oh.
So I held the world record for 2 minutes.
And once you can't go back then, can you? Is it? Once you've done it, is it?
Oh, I could have gone again, but I was ruined. I was lying on the floor after the 405, like, need to do that. Need to do an hour.
It's just fucking great. Like, I remember seeing I think everyone's seen the footage of Eddie Hall pulling 500, and like his blood coming from his eyes, and he's just like, he's just busting. Arnold Schwarzenegger's just like, oh yeah.
Some of the post lift stuff you see on YouTube is a little bit of, exaggerated, blah blah blah, close to death, but it does take a lot out of you. Like after I did the 410, I felt just weird, like physically for most, I'd say 5 or 6 weeks. Just didn't feel myself, didn't feel properly recovered. People think, oh, you're back to it in 3 or 4 days. No, I felt fucked for almost 2 months. Just like I said, it's just crazy weights, and human bodies aren't meant to lift this sort of stuff.
Wow. You beat me to it then. I was going to say that. Do you like, when you have competitions and stuff, do you have to have like a medical, like just a quick check over, see how you are, or nothing like that?
Probably should.
Yeah, I was going to think that.
They do for World's Strongest Man you see on TV.
Yeah.
That's just obviously because it's on TV. So they don't want people keeling over and dying in thing. But below that, not really. It's like I said, it's quite a niche sport. So it's kind of like it's like the Wild West a little bit, strongman at the amateur level. I mean, anything goes. They don't really give a shit. But at Worlds they do medicals, to make sure the guys are healthy enough to finish the competition, basically.
Yeah, right. Have you been lucky enough to train with any of those big boys like Eddie Hall or Terry Hollands, is it? Mark Felix back in the day and all those?
Eddie's been to our gym twice.
Oh, awesome! Yeah.
He did a video with Rihanna on YouTube. If you want to go check out later, it's like they did a little pound for pound competition. Mark Felix has been to the gym a couple of times because he lives on the road.
Oh,
so I had a deadlift session with Mark Felix last year. It was awesome. Graham Hicks I've known for years. That's who I started training with originally 9 years ago when I first started Strongman.
Wow, yeah.
Awesome. Big C and a few others. The Northwest, where I live now, is a little crazy little hotbed for Strongman. There's loads of good guys up in this area, so quite lucky, really.
Yeah, bloody right. Yeah, I should have said at the start. Chaos Strength Gym is in Preston. You are.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So, and it's awesome. Like you say, you've got your own gym as well, and even now with lockdown, I suppose you and Rhiannon can just go for a sesh on your own, could you?
Yeah, we're allowed to train throughout lockdown, so we're quite lucky in that regards. Obviously, I'd rather the gym was open.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But yeah, it's been quite hard to stay motivated. Even though, like I said, we are lucky to have our gym and be able to train around. It's hard to get motivated when it's empty. Do you know what I mean? And there's no atmosphere and there's nobody else there. But so I've had a few dips where I felt a bit unmotivated, but come through the other end now. Hopefully we're at the light at the end of the tunnel now with regards to lockdown in a few months with the vaccine. I hope, fingers crossed, and we can get back to normality.
I think you guys in England, you're a bit more ahead than us in Wales at the minute, aren't you? At least you've got kind of a roadmap. We kind of
we've got a date now for gyms. So April 12th in England apparently is the date gyms are going to be reopening. Whether that gets delayed, obviously, God knows with what's going on. But at least having a date gives us something to look forward to, don't we?
Exactly, yeah. And
Wales doesn't have one.
No, we don't. I don't think. I think they were meant to announce something tonight. Drakeford was, but I don't know. To be honest, Luke, I'm like, fuck it, it's too my head in. It's just I try not to watch the news now. It's just
I don't blame.
It's too podcasting it. You know? I saw something on your Instagram as well. You've been invited to the World's Strongest Man in Florida this year, haven't you? End of the year.
Yeah, so I'm going back to official Strongman games in Florida. Obviously COVID dependent.
Yeah.
That's the same competition where I said I had a disaster in 2017. So I'd like to redeem myself a little bit and my main goal is top 10. At that show, everybody does the first 4 events, and then the top 10 goes through to the final. So I'd like to make it to the final, so I can have a play with the Atlas Stones. That's the goal for this year.
So have they told you the exercises?
Yeah, we know the events already, and it's a cool event. To be fair, we get to do a car walk, which I've never done before. So we get to carry a car. So that's going to be cool. It's a log press for reps, which is a pretty standard event. There's a deadlift ladder, which is like a medley. So there's 4 bars lined up in a row, getting progressively heavier. So you have to lift one at a time. I should know the last event. And the last event is a carry medley. So you have to carry a sandbag, then like a stone, and then do a drag backwards. So they're the first 4 events. And then if we get through to the final, we get to do a sandbag toss, which is similar to the keg toss.
Yeah.
Like smaller sandbags instead, and then Atlas Stones. So
is Atlas Stones, because you always see it on the TV, that's always like the last event, always, isn't it? It's
not always. No, a lot of comps don't have stones.
All right.
Especially the local amateur level, just because, as you can imagine, stones are a pain in the ass in terms of transporting, doing them safely. So at the higher level, yeah, stones are quite like the last event, especially Worlds. But at the lower level, they're a bit. You still have them, don't get me wrong, but they're a bit less common.
They look a fucking nightmare, I'll be honest. You know, it's the grip, is it? Is that what it is? Like the whole thing, I suppose, is it? Doing it?
I don't know if you've seen it watching on TV, but we use a substance called tacky. It's made from like sort of pine resin, and it makes your arms and hands sticky. So, which helps with the grip.
Yeah,
it's just everything really. Stones. It's like it's complete full body movement. It's just hard.
Yeah.
You're picking up a concrete fucking boulder. Like the heaviest one in the 105 class normally goes up to like 180 kilos.
That's mental.
Which is
it's
a lot. 30 stone, is it?
Yeah, no, 100 is a lot. Have you lifted that weight before? Stone?
I've done 200 kilo stone.
Awesome. Yeah.
Looking at PB.
And what's normally the rough height you've got to put it to?
Normally about 4 foot.
4 foot, yeah.
4 foot or 4 foot 4, like 48 to 52 inches.
Yeah.
For men is pretty good.
I've always wondered like the weight of those stones, because when I see it on, like I'm always going back to the telly now. I know like 105 kilo category would be a bit different to the heavyweight. What's the heavyweight category? What's the biggest stone there?
At Worlds, currently, they made it heavier last year, and I can't remember, but Britain's Strongest Man, for example, which is also on TV, goes up to 200 kilos. So it's not actually that much heavier than the 105 comps. They just do it a lot faster and easier.
Yeah, you see some when I'm watching it, they'll smash the first one or two out, and then like you say, it's a mixture, and it's the fatigue, it's the weight, it's It's
always a lot of events as well, but people forget. By the time you get the stones, you're already knackered.
Oh yeah. Obviously, and you do what's this breaks? Say you do four events in a day roughly normally.
Depends on the comp. Sometimes you do all 6 in one day.
All right, we'll do 6 for example.
Yeah.
Like how much time rest do you have roughly in between an event?
It depends on the comp. So it depends how organised the organizer is for one. It depends on the level. So if you're doing a higher level show, they tend to run faster because they have an audience there, so they want to keep them captivated. So I did Wales Strongest Man heavyweight show 2 years ago, and they had a big crowd there, so there was a couple of thousand people watching. So the organizer wanted to keep it moving. So on that day, we had maybe 10 minutes in between events.
That's not much, is it?
So it's not a lot. You have maybe enough time to quick warm up for the next event and bang straight into it. We did all 5 events that day in maybe 3 hours. Other times, you might have an hour between events if it's super disorganized or. Worlds is a good example because Worlds has all the weight classes.
Right, yeah.
So one in Florida has under 80s men, under 90s men, under 105 men, and Masters men. And then it also has under 63 women. Sorry, under 64 women, which is the category Rihanna competes in. Under 73s, under 82s, and open women. Oh, and Masters women. So that's 9 categories.
All in, that's a lot there.
But at that show, they only do 2 events a day because obviously they have so many athletes to get through. So that show is actually quite laid back. So you do an event, you have to chill for a few hours, then do the next event. They both provide different challenges. Because the issue with that sort of style is, physically it's easier, but it's quite hard to stay switched on for that long.
And you
have to switch off for a bit and then turn it back on again. Whereas if it's a fast-paced comp, you can just be like, right, ready, let's get it done. And you focus for 3 hours and you're done. Do you know what I mean? So it's different.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like you said, I can imagine that. Imagine you're doing your lift in the morning and then you got to wait till the afternoon. You're like, oh fuck, I'm rested now. I'm ready to lift now.
Exactly. It's like hard. I've been to some comps, mate, at like the local level, where it takes like 12 hours to do the full show. I could be doing Atlas stones in the fucking dark. Do you know what I mean? So it depends. It depends on the comp.
Do you take any like when you compete? Then do you take like I'm trying to think, not like an energy drink, but some sort of drink like I don't know, a creatine or.
I just tend to drink like sports drinks, like Lucas in sports, because especially if it's a fast-paced comp, you haven't really got time to eat.
Right. Yeah.
Not just time, but you can't have a big meal in between events because obviously you get bloated and feel sick. So
yeah.
You have to live off sugar on comp days, to be honest, for the most of things. So just Monsters and
literally Monsters and Red Bulls and Lucasades.
Yeah, and Lucasade Sports and like sweets and stuff. So you just get sugar in fast for the next event.
Yeah,
because it's not just because you're a fat piece of shit. It's because you literally. There's no point eating a bowl of pasta because it'll take hours to digest it, and by the time that's gone down, you finish the comp.
Yeah,
you just need to get sugar in, bash up the next event, rinse, repeat. You know what I mean?
Short and sharp, yeah. And I just want to rewind back. You were saying about we've been talking about Rihanna and your partner a lot, and Rihanna Lovelace. She was the world's strongest woman, 2018, is it? You said?
Yeah, in the under 64 class, and last year she won. I don't know if you saw it. They did, because of the pandemic. They did an online competition to find out the strongest person in the world, pound for pound. and she won that. So she won.
Did she? That's awesome. Yeah.
She won World's Strongest Woman pound for pound in 2020 as well.
That must be pretty odd. You know, you're both in the same sport. Like you could say, you motivate each other, you train together, and must be pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. She's a lot better than me. But yeah, it's awesome. Like I can imagine. Obviously, can't really relate myself, but I can imagine the sport being quite hard if your partner doesn't get it. Because it's one of those things that it's like it takes over your life.
Yeah.
Obviously, with me and Ree, it's our life now. It's how we make our living. We have the gym. We're both coaching full time. That's our job.
Yeah.
So we're all involved in the sport. So it's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I went on Ree's page, obviously when I knew you were coming on, and in fact, she can lift some weight, mind. What's her deadlift record? I saw one. I don't know her normal deadlift, but trap deadlift. She lifted 270 kilos.
Yeah, she's done her world record deadlift. She has a world record in the 64 kilo class and the 82 kilo class,
which is
she goes 272.5 kilos, so 600 pounds.
272.5 kilos.
She's done 275 in the gym, but she hasn't done it in comp yet. So.
Yeah,
and that's weighing 64 kilos.
That's so, right. Yeah. And is she quite short? Is she quite small? You know, short as well.
Yeah, she's 5'2", yeah. So yeah, she's
small, yeah, short.
She deadlifted almost almost 4.5 times her body weight.
Yeah, that's what it'd be, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's so impressive. I say that's blown me away. That much weight.
Is
she going to Florida with you in November to compete?
Yeah, she's planning on winning, so that's
she's going for gold.
Yeah, she won in 2018. She didn't have a great comp in 2019, so she lost the title. Obviously, last year didn't happen because of COVID. Everything got cancelled, so she's going back to get a title back.
That's fucking class. Yeah, maybe I'll have Rhiannon on end of the year now.
Yeah, do it, man. That's fine.
Let's say maybe I should have had you both on, and we could have a little duo, but it doesn't matter. I plan on doing this for a long time, and even having yourself back, Luke, having a chat and, you know, see how you've progressed in, 12 months or whatever, and competitions you've done and stuff. It's
hopefully I'll have my world record back with him.
Yeah, I know. I was like, fuck, I couldn't believe that. I had it all planned out in my notes. And he goes, oh, I actually lost the record a couple of weeks ago. I was like, fuck. No, listen, mate, it's been a pleasure, and really appreciate you giving the time to come on, and I really enjoyed this. Before I let you go, though, any shout outs you want to give, where we can follow you on social media and all that stuff?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Luke Davies Strongman, or my gym page, which is Chaos Strength Gym. On Instagram, you see me and Ree and all our athletes on there. Shout out to Ree, obviously, for just being awesome. She's keeping me sane during this lockdown, and the members of the gym. Hopefully, we'll see them very, very soon.
Awesome stuff, Luke. Bye, Luke Davies, everybody. Yo.